Hello and good morning Canada, bore da Canada as we'd say here in Wales. We're broadcasting here live from the University of Wales, Trinity St David from our Carmarthen campus. We have three main campuses here at the university which you will get to see very shortly. But in the meantime, please be aware of the noise behind me. We have a very exciting build that's due to be completed within the next few months. Our creative hub with lots of opportunities for our students here and hopefully some great opportunities for you if you join us here. So let's take a quick clip and let's see our three beautiful campuses here at the University of Wales, Trinity St David. Welcome back, and some fantastic footage of our campuses, three very different campuses, which we'll have an opportunity to speak about during today's programme. So I'm joined today with Kath Griffiths, who's our Executive International Officer. Welcome, Kath. And Miranda, who's one of our postgraduate students. Welcome, Miranda. Hello. Okay, brilliant. So to start with, Kath, tell us about yourself and your role here at the university.
Okay, my name's Kath Griffiths and I've been in post here at the university for nearly 17 years now. And my role is mainly to look after the North American links that we have. I go on an annual visit to Canada where I meet students that are interested in studying abroad here in Wales. We've got various partnerships, whether that's study abroad, exchange, degree completion, or students like Miranda that love it so much in Wales that they come back and do their master's programme with us. So I'll be over in Vancouver now on the 6th and 7th of March in one of our partner institutions, Douglas College.
Brilliant. And what are the opportunities that are available here for international and Canadian students?
Well, we have various different programmes, both at undergraduate and postgraduate level on our beautiful Welsh campuses. Students have the opportunity to come on exchange for a semester with us, or on study abroad. They can apply direct to the institution for study abroad. For full-time undergraduate programmes, and one of the unique programmes that we have with institutions in British Columbia is a degree completion programme. And we have that link with Douglas College and also with Camosun College in Victoria. So students who complete their diploma in those colleges have the opportunity to apply for the final year of the degree here in Wales. And within that 1 year, they would end up with a full bachelor's degree. And then we also have postgraduate programs from master's level right the way through to PhD level. So we have 2 staff members from Douglas College doing PhDs, and then students like Miranda who come back to Wales to do their master's programs with us.
Brilliant. And what kind of subjects do we offer?
Various subjects. Institutions that we have links with in Canada have been pretty much within the liberal arts that we've really concentrated on. So students, the initial links were with the Carmarthen campus. So our study abroad programme began here in 1976. I haven't been here quite that long, but nearly. But the students tend to do programmes here within the arts and within sport. So really popular programmes have been the BA in acting, BA design and production, but also within sport, health and outdoor education. And on our Lampeter campus, subjects such as history, ancient history, anthropology, archaeology has been quite popular because they don't study it in the same way in North America. Creative writing, we've got the Dylan Thomas Summer School, which students that come on study abroad sometimes come back and do that summer programme as well. So various different campuses, and then within our Swansea programs we're now developing those study abroad partnerships with North America within the arts, business, psychology and then engineering, those types of courses. We're just developing now those opportunities.
So lots of different courses to choose from. Yeah. And we are blessed, like we've mentioned, that we have got 3 very different campuses. We're broadcasting from the Carmarthen campus. Before we have a real nice clip of what we do offer on the Carmarthen campus, what's your top things to do here in Carmarthen? What's your favourite
in Carmarthen? I think what's been so unique about Carmarthen and kind of Wales as a whole is that kind of sense of place that we have. A colleague of mine and I developed a cultural programme which is called A Sense of Place, and we like to bring together the international students from our 3 Welsh campuses on the weekend and take them to see kind of the sights of Wales. It's similar in some ways to British Columbia. We've got the coastline and we've got the mountains, not as grand mountains, but something that we've got, I think, which Miranda, you've enjoyed seeing, has been the castles. I think Griff, who acts like a big brother to the students, takes them to see as many castles on that journey. But what's unique about the Carmarthen campus itself is that kind of link to town. I think the students like that sense of being in a town and having kind of the opportunity to just walk into the town centre. So that's what, for Carmarthen, that's what's been quite kind of unique. And to live on campus as well, I think you were lucky, you were from your hometown where you went to university, but lots and lots of students that don't have that option to kind of live close to campus do here. They get to live on campus and be a part of the UWTSD family very, very quickly. I think we really pride ourselves on that.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thanks, Kat. So let's have a quick look at the Carmarthen campus. Brilliant, and welcome back. Okay, so we're now joined by Miranda, who is one of our postgraduate students on the Lampeter campus. Welcome, Miranda. So firstly, tell us a little bit about your background. What about you?
I completed my Bachelor of Arts almost a year ago now. My major was in anthropology, minor was in classical studies. I actually came to Lampeter on exchange during my final semester. It was offered to me almost a year previously by one of the professors who was a part of the contract being signed. I was the very first student my university sent. I was, as the international office back there calls, the trailblazer for the program here. And as I was here, I looked into master's programs, found one that I fell instantly in love with, applied, and now I'm back. And this time I'm back for 2 years.
Okay, brilliant. And you're studying on the Lampeter campus?
Yes.
So why the Lampeter campus? What drew you to that campus?
Mainly it was a smaller campus. Of the about multiple post-secondary schools that are in my city, MacEwan is one of the smallest, and Lampeter was, again, a much smaller university, and more so than that, it was a very specialized university. So it had a specialized course, it had a library with resources that my own institution back home didn't quite have the number of resources, and it's also close to a lot of museums that have artifacts I can study as part of my coursework.
Brilliant. So with Lampeter, you said you specialise in academics. So what about social life? What about life beyond that your study and the books?
Lampeter is definitely quite a bit smaller, although I have to admit, me and my roommate have made a task of visiting every single cafe in the town. For a small town, it has an unusually large amount of cafes.
Good coffee in Lampeter.
Oh, yes. I am obsessed with Conti's.
Yeah.
I have left sometimes on the weekends to go either here to Carmarthen or even to the coastline to Aberystwyth, including to visit some exhibitions that have gone on. And also, Lampeter is a nice little town. It's definitely a lot smaller than, because I come from a much bigger city back in Canada, but I almost prefer it because it gives me a chance to focus on my studies. Mm-hmm. And when I do spend time with friends there, it's not a constant calling back and forth to figure out where everyone is or something. It's a very easy walk down the street to a cafe and we can sit and chit chat in there for like almost an hour. So I do quite like that as well.
Perfect. So what's your favourite thing about Wales?
Can I say the castles?
Yeah. We've got enough of them.
Oh yeah. I love the castles. I also I love some of the Roman ruins I have also seen here, especially since that is my specialty in my coursework. There's still quite a few I've yet to see. And I also really enjoy a lot of the Welsh culture I've been finding here, especially when it comes to the Welsh mythology that I've been finding and learning about here.
Do you take part in the cultural programme?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's been your kind of highlights, your favourite trips?
Definitely Carleon. Carleon is my number one favorite. No matter how many times I go, I'm always excited. I'm also extremely fond of Cardiff. It's one of my favorite places to go to Wales in general. I even sometimes make plans to go during breaks.
So how would you describe Cardiff to people back home?
A big city with very interesting history. There's like the castle that's in the middle of the city. I love it. It's very interesting because it's Victorian with Norman and Roman all mixed together, which is something I find absolutely fascinating. And I also really like the shopping district there.
And some of the students often feedback that they've been watching quite a number of BBC Wales programmes, such as Sherlock, Torchwood, obviously Doctor Who. So I think that's made, kind of BBC North America has made a big difference, I think, to students wanting to see where those things are. Yeah, absolutely. I
have a friend who's promised me a Doctor Who walking tour of Cardiff.
Okay, so big jump and a big decision. When maybe it's lots of students watching today are thinking, right, okay, sounds really exciting. Do I stay at home or do I make this decision? What would your advice be? And what was the process for you from having the first advice and the introduction to UWTSD to being here today?
I'm a bit of an unusual case, I guess, especially since I did study abroad for many, many years before I then made the jump to an exchange and from there to living abroad for the next 2 years in order to study over here. And it's not an easy decision. It's one that's kind of terrifying. It's nerve-wracking, and then you're thinking, oh my God, I'm leaving home for a very long period of time. What am I going to do? And I was very lucky also in my decision because I had already been here beforehand. So I had friends I already had here who also helped me figure out how I was going to move over here and what I was going to do once I got here. But despite how terrifying it was a decision I'm really glad I made, because it's one that allows you to learn and to grow a lot. And quite frankly, it's a lot of fun. Not even just for the travel or the culture program, but being able to learn in another country is an experience that helps you understand how to adapt to other places. So that's good for later in life, especially if you need to move to a different city or to a different province for work, which is something that a lot of friends of mine back home who have had to do. So it's just a slightly bigger step.
So what support is available for those things that Miranda did mention, that maybe some of our students who are sat in Canada are maybe thinking about?
I think our visits to Canada are really important. In the fall each year, one of the assistant deans usually goes out to meet students initially. So lots of the students that I'll get to meet the first week in March would have met Dr. Paul Wright already to talk through those possible options in Wales, the academic side. Then once Paul's met them, I tend to talk to students on email or on Skype about the options and supporting them. And then when I go over, I'll be meeting with students, but often sometimes they're parents who may have questions. But we're very, very fortunate here. We have an international registry that supports students all the way through that initial inquiry phase, through the application, but the visa side of things, which is important, I think, for students to have that support here. So both on the academic and that practical side of supporting the students all the way through. And then when they arrive in the UK, we have an airport pickup service. So when they arrive into the UK, we ask them to generally arrive into Heathrow and then bring students to the campuses and then have an intensive orientation. So kind of all the way through, I think, from that initial inquiry right the way through, I think they hopefully feel really supported. And I think we're only able to do that in an institution like ours, that they're never lost, that you know, they do get to know us. And the staff that will talk will hopefully explain the support networks within the schools as well.
Brilliant. So once you finish your studies, Miranda, what are your plans?
Well, I would like to get into museum work eventually. I was highly recommended by someone who did work in museums to get a master's and to not focus on getting a master's in museum studies. So I was looking into one that would still allow me to work in the type of museum work I wanted to do without just doing museum studies. And finding this program, I think, will help, and also show them that I don't have to be in my home city to work. I could go wherever they need me to. I can go wherever the work is.
The travel bug as well as kind of heading that kind of wanderlust.
So have you got the Wales bug? Are you staying, or are you thinking of returning back home?
I have yet to make my decision, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do know that I'm probably going to keep traveling no matter what.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. So you've really spoke about the Lampeter campus. So now let's give an opportunity for the students in Canada to have a look at our Lampeter campus. croeso nôl, which means welcome back here in Wales. Joined on the sofa now with Kath, we've got Nalda, one of our colleagues from the Sports, Health and Outdoor Education Department here on the Carmarthen campus. So tell us, what's the department like here on the Carmarthen campus?
Okay, well, we have a range of courses linked to sport, health and outdoor education. We have undergraduates in sports science with different routes for personal training, outdoor fitness and a range of other options. We have sports therapy, which is like athletic training in North America, and health, nutrition and lifestyle. But we also have particularly our undergraduate physical education and undergraduate outdoor education programs, and both of those routes follow right through into masters and postgraduate level study, and in fact they're quite unique in that they go right through from undergraduate to masters, and also we have PhD level study on that, and that's quite a unique feature. The physical education undergraduate programme links really strongly with some of the work we do in the Wales Institute for Physical Literacy, and it's quite a different feature of our programmes in that we try to link the work we do with that very broad concept of physical literacy, and students get an opportunity to work out in schools and the community on the projects that the Wales Institute for Physical Literacy does, which is a fantastic opportunity both at undergraduate and master's level.
Brilliant. So it gives them lots of more employability then as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. And so can you tell us about the collaboration project that you've got and you've been working with Douglas?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really exciting development that happened several years ago while we were out looking at our exchange opportunities with Douglas, and met with Dr. Brian Story, who was chair of the department and was heading up a postgraduate diploma in physical education there. And we saw some really close links between what Brian's postgraduate diploma had and our masters in physical education. So we worked really closely to look how the programs mapped across, and saw that was a lovely fit between the two programs, and an opportunity for students from Douglas, the teachers that have followed the postgraduate diploma, to come across and top up their grad diploma to a master's level qualification. So the way the programme works is that once they've completed the graduate diploma in physical education at Douglas, they can apply to come across to top up to master's level here. The application process is quite competitive, so they apply, fill in the forms that they can get via Brian at Douglas, and then if they're accepted on the programme, they come across for a 2-week summer research methods institute, which looks at research methods particularly in physical education, sport and health really. And over that 2 weeks then they'll study a load of theory and workshops and guest lectures and talks. They complete a module through those 2 weeks. If they pass that module, they then progress on to dissertation. They complete the dissertation back in Vancouver, usually in their schools where they're working. Some amazing research projects. We've had 9 people already graduate through the programme and have actually gained promotion in work and employment in admin as a result of it. So seeing a big impact on them professionally, and they talk massively about the impact on them personally as well from coming over to Wales.
And sharing best practice as well with teachers in British Columbia, that they're, particularly with the Summer Institute, they come over and they kind of work together and kind of share and take those ideas back to British Columbia. It's been really good. Yeah,
and so and I was recently back out in Vancouver doing some tutorials and meeting potential applicants on this year's cohort. So hopefully we're going to see some of those people coming over in August, and that was very exciting because we've got people still in dissertation at the moment from the last group, and they met with the group that came the first time. So we're really building a lovely professional learning community at master's level, with them all meeting up now and getting to know each other in schools in the districts around Vancouver. It's very exciting.
Sounds really exciting. So if we've got students who are thinking, okay, so can I find out more about that programme? Where do they go?
So Dr. Brian Story at Douglas, and there's been one information session with Brian and myself and some of our graduates off the programme already. And there's this week been an information session as well, and Kath will be out visiting shortly. So if they contact Brian Story at Douglas, he'll be able to give them information for that and on how to apply. And the application window ends at the end of March, so that we can process applicants and know our numbers and plan for the 2-week institute. And it's more than just the study. It's so the 2 weeks are very exciting. We plan lots of great things for them to do. There's Obviously the study, the lecture time, the workshops, we have guest lecturers come in, so we draw on the expertise that we have, not just in our department, but through colleagues that we work with internationally through our physical literacy work. So they'll get opportunities to have guest speakers. They'll have opportunities to work on their own proposal for dissertation, which will be assessed as part of their accreditation to progress. And then obviously we try and build in some of the lovely cultural part and the fun part of being here in West Wales. So we'll build in some cultural trips to places like Pembroke Castle, which was the birthplace of Henry VII, who was Henry VIII's king and changed, well, history in certainly across Europe. And then we'll visit places like Tenby on the Pembrokeshire coast in the National Park, which are beautiful, potentially Bath or Cardiff, a city break. And then we also build in a bit of fun activity, some mountain biking potentially, but also coast steering, which is our kind of signature activity here in West Wales, and it's hugely exciting, involving swimming along the coast, jumping off cliffs, scrambling, all in the water. It's great fun. So we make sure the 2 weeks is packed, and it's hard work, but it's very exciting.
And you can always see, I remember going to the final dinner the last time the group drove, and that sense of community that they built, and they'd obviously spent the 2 weeks getting to know each other really well. And you can see those connections that when they go back to their home schools, that they'll take so much back from being in Wales, and that kind of connection to Wales and Douglas College you've built. Yeah,
and I think that in terms of the fact that they're working at master's level, they've come off their grad diploma, they're already firing and ready to go, and working at master's level does make you think super critically about your own practice in school, and they talk a lot about the impact on their own professional practice back in their schools and how it's transforming the way they think and approach their work. So yeah, we're really pleased that the collaboration is continuing. Really, it's very exciting.
Brilliant. So if there are people watching today, because we're live on Facebook, that are not in Douglas, how do they get to know about the programme? Or
well, we have a master's programme which can be studied full or part-time, in a master's in physical education, sport and physical literacy, and a master's programme in outdoor education, which are fairly, like I said, unique as programmes, and they can get that information from the University of Wales Trinity St David websites.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, really exciting. So now we'll just have a quick clip.
My name is Lee Bartlett, and I'm the Director of UK Visas and Immigration Compliance at the University of Wales Trinity St David. I've been asked to talk to you today about the Tier 4 General Visa. A Tier 4 General Visa allows students from outside the European Economic Area in Switzerland to come to the UK to undertake a full-time study leading to an approved qualification. The course must be being taught at an educational institution that has been approved by the UK Home Office and owns its own Tier 4 sponsor licence. And I'm pleased to say that the University of Wales Trinity St David does have its own Tier 4 general sponsor licence. In order to come to the UK, before travelling, you will need to apply for your visa. This applies to all applicants under the Tier 4 general visa, regardless of nationality. The visa application you submit must be submitted in your home country. The application process will normally take anywhere between 3 to 4 weeks, and you should make sure that you apply in plenty of time to arrive in your course. Before applying for your visa, the University of Wales will be sending you a Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies, or a CAS. This is a virtual document, but it does contain important information that you will need to use in your Tier 4 General Visa application. A printout of this document will be sent to you by the registry before you arrive in the UK, and you must use this in your visa application. As well as sending in a visa application, you will be required to show to the UK Visas and Immigration that you meet certain other eligibility requirements. These include English language proficiency and maintenance or financial funds. In relation to English language, there are a number of ways in which you can show the UK Visas and Immigration that you hold sufficient English language proficiency in the elements of reading, writing, speaking and listening. For example, you could be a national of a majority English-speaking country, such as the USA or Australia or New Zealand, and therefore by presenting your passport from one of these countries, you will have met the requirements. Alternatively, if you are not from a majority-speaking English country, you could forward a secure English language test from one of the approved test centres that the UK Visas and Immigration have licensed overseas. Examples of nationals who are not majority English-speaking countries include Chinese nationals, Japanese nationals and Filipino nationals. In addition to English language requirements, you will also be required to show the UK Visas and Immigration that you have sufficient money or funds to be able to support yourself whilst you are here studying in the UK. The UK Visas and Immigration have very strict requirements around the evidential proofs that would satisfy this requirement, and we would advise you to seek advice from the university's immigration advisors before submitting your immigration application to ensure that you meet these evidential requirements. For example, only certain banks may be included in approved financial institutions in certain countries. Equally, regardless of the bank, you will need to have shown that the funds are in an account which is either in your own name, or if it is in one of your parents' names, you will also need to submit evidence of the family relationship, such as the birth certificate. Alternatively, you may have sponsorship from an official sponsor, and again, there are specific evidential requirements that the UK Visas and Immigration have in this regard. You will need to provide evidence in the form of an official letter on letter-headed paper from your sponsor which details the amounts they are sponsoring you and also for what purpose. In relation to how much money you need to hold, this depends upon the length of your course and also whether or not you have already paid your tuition fees to the university. Again, I would ask you to seek advice from the UK immigration specialist at the university in terms of how much money you need to hold in your account before you submit your immigration application. In addition to English language and to maintenance, you will also be required to provide other documentation that the university has relied upon in issuing you an unconditional offer onto your course. This can include, for example, your previous academic qualifications that show that you meet the entry requirements for the university. When applying for your visa, you will also be asked to provide your biometric information. This will include having your fingerprints taken and your picture taken at the same time, and this again will be done at a visa application centre. The process involved in relation to your visas takes on average between 3 to 4 weeks from the date you make your application. As such, you need to factor this time in before arriving at the university. Once you arrive at the university, you will need to enrol during your enrolment period. If you are unable to enrol during this period, you must notify the university with the reasons why this is the case, as the university must report any non-enrolments of students on Tier 4 visas to the UK Visas and Immigration within 10 days of the enrolment period. If you have failed to notify the university of a late start, and the university reports you, your visa is likely to be cancelled. Once studying in the UK, the Tier 4 General Visa does allow you to work for up to 20 hours a week if you are studying a degree level course or a higher level course such as a Master's or PhD. This work is ancillary to your studies, and your studies remain the main purpose as to why you are coming to the UK. You are equally able to work full-time during any holiday period that the university affords you during the year. Tier 4 General Visa holders who are studying a Master's level qualification or higher are also able to bring any dependents with them to the UK. Dependents include common law spouse, civil partner, husband, wife, or dependent children under the age of 18. Those of you who are studying at degree level or below are unfortunately unable to bring your dependents with you on a Tier 4 General Visa. Of course, your dependents can apply to come to the UK in their own right, but would need to do so using a separate visas application. Once in the UK, you will be subject to attendance monitoring policies. These ensure that you are attending your courses and classes in an appropriate manner. Again, details of this will be given to you during the enrolment period. We look forward to receiving you here at the University of Wales Trinity St David and hope that you have a great time with us. Thank you.
So I'm joined now by two of our colleagues from the Performing Arts Department here on the Carmarthen campus. So we've got Stacey Jo and Lynn here from Performing Arts Carmarthen, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what programmes do we offer here on its campus, Stacey Jo?
So on the Carmarthen campus we offer 3 BA Honours degrees, 1 in theatre design and production, 1 in acting and 1 in dance. All of the degrees are practical learning. We teach through block systems. It's all taught by industry professionals with only 3 full-time members of staff, which is myself, Lynn, Dave and Christy, the dance lecturer.
Yeah, and it's all practical learning, and in the 3rd year, which is when the international students will join us, we join up the design and production team and the acting team. So these guys become our designers and our creators, our makers. So at the moment we're looking a little dishevelled because we're in the middle of our tech for our main house production.
It's the real life performing arts.
Yes, so we're doing Thomas Hardy's Far From the Madding Crowd. So yes, we're just in the middle of the tech, the crucial stages.
Yeah.
So the great thing is that you get that understanding of the actors are working with a big team, and the same for the design and production students. You're not working in isolation. It's very much a company mentality.
Brilliant. And lots of industry links, and lots of you have got, you're working in the industry as well as lecturing, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We all, even for the full-time members of staff, we all have our industry links. So I'm an actor and a director. I have a theatre company, and Stacey Jo the same, Dave the same, Christy the same. So not only that, but the people who are working with the 3rd years all the way through the 2nd and 3rd year, in fact, are industry professionals. So we've got, at the moment, we've got Gaynor Stiles and Dan Lloyd, who are directors who both have companies and both have quite a big imprint on Wales and the UK. But all the way through that training, it is industry professionals that come in, so you're making links with people.
Perfect. And so how does it compare to our friends who are watching today and their performing arts department in Douglas? How does what we offer, what are the comparisons and the differences really?
It's the comparisons in terms of practical learning, block teaching, pushing that being an actor, a designer for the industry, not just necessarily for teaching or further education. It is actually so you can go out there and work straight away.
It's definitely a vocational training, and one of the things that the actors and the design students do is that they have to organise their personal development plan, and that's really helpful, I think, for everybody. And it's great the way that the overseas students and the UK students integrate, and their understanding of the industry is similar, but there are different pockets of information. And so having that chance to think about where you've come through your education and spend that whole time with us, checking in with tutors, checking what it is you want to achieve, where you're going to go next, what you're going to do, so that you're not just kind of left at the end of term by us packing you back on a plane going bye. But you do have that sense of what are your next steps, what things are you putting into place to take all the skills that you've learnt with us, take all the skills that you've learnt back at home, and then plan for your next step.
Yeah. So there are lots of students now thinking, right, okay, so not quite sure what I want to do. Do I want to stay home, or do I want to make this massive decision really? So what would you say are the key benefits of Canadian students making that decision?
Top 5.
I think top 5. Right, okay. I think it's a really difficult decision. I completely understand that, but I would say that nobody that's ever come has ever made a bad choice. We're supportive as a staff, so it's not a case of we just have to turn up to lectures and that's it really. We do get to know our students really well, we support our students really well, and because we do behave like a theatre company from our point of view and from the students' point of view. Another point for people coming over is that you get an understanding of how the UK system works, how the UK rehearsal room works, be that from a design point of view, a dance point of view, an acting point of view. And there are subtle differences, which are great for our students as well. It's great to have that crossover of what is expected of everybody. So for anybody that's thinking of working internationally, that's really important, I think. I've done 2. Can you think of anyone?
I think specifically here in Carmarthen, I think it being that small, friendly, creative campus is a real big sell. You are coming, those internationals are coming from many miles away. You're not going to be on your own. You're with us from day one of your degree, no matter if it's emails at whatever time of night or knocking on our door, as well as being in the rehearsal room and working with the practitioners. You're not on your own, similar to what you said. But
and supported by the international office as well is really important.
Yeah.
And a cultural exchange. It's really important, I think, if you're working in the creative industries, to understand how other people in the world work, how other people in the world are. So that cultural exchange is just as important as the educational, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sold. So brilliant, thank you so much. And of course, Kath will be at Douglas next week, auditioning anybody who would be interested in joining you. So these are our wonderful lecturers here on the Carmarthen campus. We do hope you'll see them in September, and we'll just take a quick VT now. Welcome back, and we just want to say very big thank you to everyone who's joined us today. Some fantastic programmes available here on the Carmarthen campus and of course on our Lampeter campus. So you will be visiting next week, won't you, Kath?
Yeah, I will be in Vancouver on the 6th and 7th of March. I'll be mainly located in the New Westminster campus of Douglas College, so I'll be doing some information sessions on the concourse there. But I will be live online now for an hour or so, so if you have any burning questions, please do ask me, and I'll be able to help you with those. Lots of information on the North American pages of our website too, and of course on our kind of social media channels. But I'm really looking forward to visiting Vancouver and to meeting so many of you that will be hopefully studying in Wales here next September.
Brilliant. And as Kat said, our social media links will appear shortly, so do get following us and see what life for an international student is like at the University of Wales, Trinity St David. So once again, big thank you to all who've joined us today, and we do hope to see you all in September. Diolch yn fawr.